Let's roll.
Audio's rolling.
Rolling.
What's your name?
Joey.
Thank you. This is Nachman, Toronto, Joey, scene 4, take 1.
Okay, so I'm going to start with some very basic stuff. If somebody who doesn't know your grandfather, if you asked you to describe him, how would you describe your grandfather?
Authentic.
What words come to mind?
Authentic, generous, loving, and caring. Honestly, that's it. Those 4 words really sum him up. They have lots of depth to them, but the words themselves, those are the 4 I'd use to describe him.
Good. Tell me a little bit more about that.
He's authentic because he's a man who speaks with his actions. Doesn't say a lot of stuff. Everything he does has a deeper meaning, and his actions are rooted in love, and he cares about those around him. And even strangers. He really cares about everybody. He always helps out. He's always generous. He's very, very authentic. It's very rare today to see that.
Tell me about him as a grandfather.
It's the same kind of thing. I mean, he uses his words very wisely. He doesn't speak too much. Everything he does has a deeper meaning, and he really cares about us. And we don't talk about it all the time. There's not a lot of filler, but deep down, we all really know he cares about us more than anything. We care about him, and I love him. And everything he does, you could just feel it, and you know it. There's a good energy about him, you know?
When you watch the way that he is with your mom, with Dror, what do you pick up on with him as a father to them?
The same kind of thing. He wants the best for them, and that's why we're in the place we are, because he wants the best for the whole family. I feel like our family is one big unit, and he really holds us together. He really cares about us, and he wishes all of us the best, and he does everything he can to make sure that we're all together. We spend time together, we have fun experiences together, good memories, and he really just cares about us. So I see that trickle down to us over the generations.
Good. You had a couple of stories.
Yeah. So there's one which we'll talk about, which will demonstrate what I was saying, that we were flying to Dubai for Passover last year, and we were in Israel first for a week. And the night before, I got really, really sick. It was probably the sickest I've ever been in my entire life. Like, I was nauseous, I couldn't stand up. We almost called the hospital. I was freaking out, and he was pretty stressed out too, because it's pretty scary. Flight's the next day, and here I am. I could barely even stand up. And I'm laying in bed, and I'm thinking, like, I'm gonna die. This is crazy. It was really bad. And without saying anything, he just comes into my room and sits there all night with me, sits next to me to make sure I'm okay, make sure I'm breathing, make sure I'm alive, you know, has my back. And didn't really say anything, but that's what I was saying, he's just there, you know? And he told me after, he's there to make sure if anything happens, he's there to help me and that I'm okay. So like, he really just, his actions speak, like, say a million words, you know, speak a million words, and you really see it. Like, he has my back.
Great. Tell me, I guess it's, you grew up as the son of a doctor, but you're also the grandson of a doctor. Is there a lot of pressure, all this medical and science?
So that's the thing. So actually there isn't. He wants the best for all of us, but he doesn't force any of us in a certain direction. So I was never told growing up, you have to be a doctor, you have to do this and that, like this or the other. My path was pretty open. There were some general guidelines. They want me to be bright, successful. They want me to have a skill to learn something, to be ambitious. Like, those are the skills he really wanted to teach me, to be a go-getter. And I'm in the fashion business. I'm studying psychology, so I'm doing stuff on my own, finding my own path. But he wanted the attitude to be there. So he wants me to care about stuff, to want to work hard. And that I do because of him and my family.
That's great. Really, really great. What else did I want to kind of ask you? What does he say a lot? If you had to impersonate him, what would you do? Is there anything that he says constantly?
Whenever you ask him for something, he says yes. He goes, sure! That's one thing he always says. I guess that's the only thing I really say. That's what I know him
Give it
for.
to me again, slow.
He goes, sure!
One more.
Sure! Whenever he says, and then whenever it's no, he's like, nah. He's like, yes, and that says yes and no. That's it's always a joke. It's funny.
Does he ever, I don't know the answer to this question, so I'm asking a question that I don't know the answer
Yeah.
to. Does he ever talk about his, growing up or his childhood or his experiences?
Not too much, actually. Even the good parts, he really keeps to himself. And that's a part of his humility, too. He doesn't like to show off. He's a very modest guy. He doesn't really talk about himself too much. Whenever I call him on the phone, we call often, he always asks how I'm doing. He talks about me. He wants to know about me. And I try to ask about him, like, how are you doing? He goes, good, goes back to me. Like, he cares about me. And I feel bad sometimes because it's like, I want him to know that I care about him too, and I want to ask him how he's doing. But like, he really likes to talk about other people. He's interested in other people, He cares about how they're doing. He doesn't talk about himself that much.
How often do you speak to him?
Recently, it's been like once every week or two. And I'm happy about that. More than it used to be, and I'm happy. It's a good thing.
Can you see him? Can you see him retiring? Can you see him
No.
as a non-working person?
I cannot, honestly. He's going to be doing something. But he's also been retiring for 3 years for the past 15 years, as far as I know. So, no, I don't. As long as he has hands he can use, he's going to be operating, doing something. And that's good because I think it keeps him young, it keeps him happy, gives him a purpose, and he really loves what he does, And it's meaningful to him. So I hope he doesn't retire.
Okay, good. Anybody have anything?
Yeah.
Go ahead, both of you, one at a
Just
time.
real quick, all right, so, what about just sort of grandson, grandpa time? Is there anything fun that he would do with you guys, just sort of for fun, just for playing with you guys or anything like that? Like, what's a fun thing that grandpa would do? Until you said.
You got to think about that for a sec. Is that okay? Yeah, because there's lots of things. Like, the main thing is that he organizes these Passover trips every single year for Pesach. And we travel a lot together. We do those kind of things. We go on these fun trips. We have a great time, see new sights, meet new people together. So he's giving me lots of opportunity that way too. And I think that's something we do together is that we travel. We swim together. He has a pool at their place, so we swim a lot together. Exercise is good.
What's he like on the trips? What's he like on the trips?
It's like on the trips. I mean, despite the fact that he's turning 80, he could be 50 for all I know. He's fast-paced. He's outgoing. Does everything we're doing. He's a great energy, And again, his authenticity it gives a positive energy to everyone around him, Makes everyone feel good because I know I'm in good hands and I can feel that he cares about me wherever I am. So he makes me feel good on the trips, knowing that I'm with the right people.
Good. Rich?
Yeah, in my experience, my city, he would tell like a story, or he had famous stories that he's told
Yeah.
a million times. And everybody goes, oh, here comes the story again. You're Zadie?
Not at all. The opposite. He doesn't speak too much. When he does tell a story, and it doesn't happen too often, I'm all ears. Because he's also a very smart guy. So whatever he says, I want to listen. I want to know what he has to say. I want to learn from him as much as possible. So if he does tell me something of wisdom or something I should know, or a story, I'm listening with undivided attention.
Has he ever told you any stories about his time in the army?
I've heard it through other people more, not through him. And my grandmother tells me, my uncle would tell me, my aunt, from what she knows, But my grandmother grew up with him, and my aunts, his sisters, everybody, they would tell me. I hear more through them than through him. So I know a lot about him, but it didn't really come through him. He doesn't talk about it too much.
And is there anything that you've heard about him that surprises you?
I was surprised to find out that he had a smicha. That was years back because he's a doctor, he's in the army. He's a smicha too. That's very impressive, the way he's able to do all these things at once. Like, I find myself trying to manage my business in school, and that's a lot for me. And I think, I'm super stressed. And then I see him, he's an inspiration. He's a smicha, he's in the army, he's a doctor running his own clinic, does all these things at once. And he's still smiling, he's relaxed, he's happy, he's confident in what he's doing. Doesn't seem to be stressed. And yeah, it's an inspiration. But I guess that was surprising to hear.
And he doesn't call himself Rabbi Doctor?
Nope, he doesn't.
That's great.
Not even doctor, just Saba.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Anybody else? We good? Okay. Let's
Awesome.
cut. Good job.
Cutting.
So I think that downstairs later,
Yeah.